Hello everyone! Today we're going to do what you've been asking for, a stained glass French manicure with molds. Additionally, I'll be trying out one of the types of upper forms for the first time, and I can't wait to share my impressions with you. Let's not waste a second, let's get started. My nails are already in normal condition and they are not very arched on their own, but also not flat and slightly trapezoidal, but this is fixed with the material. I've already removed the previous coating and did a combined manicure on myself and cut the cuticles. It remains to prepare the plate chemically for the new coating. First, we degrease the plate to remove skin oil and dust. Then I apply a dehydrator followed by a non-acid primer. I rarely use acid primers. Usually when I buy a jar of acid primer, the expiration date runs out faster than the primer itself runs out. Next, we apply a rubber base coat, choosing one that is suitable for your specific nail plate type. I usually apply it to several nails at once to save time, and the thin layer prevents it from flowing. I typically cure it in the lamp for about 1 minute to ensure the material is completely dry. After curing, we remove the sticky layer to prevent it from interfering and to ensure that no dust sticks to the nails. Now, let's move on to the forms and molds. Today I have various brands, which means the mold number may not necessarily match the form number. I will be working with these forms for the first time today, so I will be waiting for your advice in the comments because any work that is done for the first time cannot be done without mistakes. We try on the forms on the nail. The arches are basically the same, but these forms are not as arched as the ones I have. The first criterion that applies to all upper forms is the growth points. We use them to orient ourselves, and if, like mine, one size is slightly larger, it won't cover the growth points. In that case, it's better to choose the larger size. Now the molds, they did not match my sizes. Well, this was to be expected because they did not come as a set with the forms. So here, you already need to look at how the mold fits into the form. Also pay attention to the smile line. If the whiskers go smoothly to 0, then you can safely use such a mold in the form. And now I want to introduce you to my two new assistants, Saga brushes for gels and polygels, and a thin 9mm liner brush. Since we're doing a stained glass French today, we'll be attaching the molds with transparent thick gel, specifically thick so that the mold adheres well. And given the mistake from the previous French manicure, I already put dots on the form where the smile line will be, then the length of the nails will be even. I didn't have a marker at hand, so I took stamping gel, which turned out to be just paint gel. I measure where I want the bed to end and mark a point. Then I try on the foam again and determine the desired length of the nail, making it easier to orient myself. I can then place the molds evenly under each nail so that the final length is correct. The same process goes for the second nail, considering that the index and ring fingers should be the same length, while the middle finger should be slightly longer. I mark accordingly, making the middle finger longer and the others slightly shorter. I apply a thick layer of clear gel to the form to set to install and fix the mold. This can be thick base or thick gel or transparent jelly gel. In general, any transparent thick material, so that the mold literally sucks to the form. I thinly coat the entire form, and in the area where the mold will be, I add a little gel for easy fixation. When installing the mold, I look to make sure the smile line is symmetrical, and thanks to the fact that I put dots, I already know where I need to move the mold. It is very important that there are as few bubbles under the mold as possible. It will be ideal if you can remove them all. We adjust the mold closer to the reference point, flip it over and check for symmetry. If everything looks even, we cure it in the lamp for 30 seconds. We repeat the same process with the other forms. Fully coat the area where the mold will be placed. Add a little material, set the mold, remove any bubbles, check for evenness and then cure. And now I present to you my new items. These are shells in this celestial blue color, and they shine very beautifully with purple and pink colors, and of course compressed gold. I think they will not spoil any design. And I also took a new gel polish from the new Platinum collection in a blue shade, and it's very pigmented with glitter. And we will start the design with this gel. I take a drop on a thin brush and coat the smile line, so I have a good accent right on the smile. It also looks very effective when outlined with black gel polish, but it requires drawing very thinly. We will definitely try it in the next videos. I drew it and blurred the border a little, making this kind of stretch. It will shine beautifully, and we also dry it. 30 seconds was enough for me while the first form is curing, and we work with the second one. After curing, I apply a thin layer of gel to the foam to securely fix all the decorations. Then I immediately place our shells on the wet layer. I broke them for convenience in fitting them into the form. By the way, it's my first time working with shells and I'm already loving it. This is like an anti-stress and you can throw absolutely anything you want in there. After laying out the shells, we do not dry, but on the same wet layer we attach our gold. It already all shines so beautifully. I imagine how we will fill it all with stained glass. It will be delightful. Here's how it looks in the interim stage, and now we cure it. Well, here are my two beauties, my little stained glasses. Just look at this color. It makes your head spin thinking about how many designs can be done with such gels. I'll do a gradient with gel paints from pink to purple. Since they are semi-transparent, the pink will hardly be visible, but this smooth transition of colors will be achieved. And here's the second beauty. For some reason, the camera couldn't capture this color accurately. Here it looks more blue, but in reality, it's closer to violet. I didn't cure the pink gel. I immediately added the purple and made sure that the side walls were covered, so I didn't have to add anything else. Jumping ahead, I'll say that here I need your advice. For those working with these shapes, do you squeeze them during drying? Or not, because they seemed very flat to me. I'll continue working with these forms and gel, and perhaps I'll grow to like them. For now, I can't say that I'm fond of them. It seems they're just not suitable for my nail plate type, but I'll definitely keep trying. We've already sent the first form for curing, and we're also working with the second one. By the way, gels, being semi-transparent, dry very quickly. Also, they are very strong and rigid, so you can trust in their reliability. Now let's move on to our French base. I'm using Polygel from Rocks in a delicate milky beige shade reminiscent of ivory. We remove the mold from the form and it comes off without any problems, sliding off the sticky layer left by the transparent gel. Transfer a small bead of polygel onto the form and fill our bed. Do this with a brush so the gel spreads more evenly and smoothly. Since we'll be making a smile line close to the cuticle, there should be minimal material in this area. The same applies to the side walls. Work the brush smoothly to avoid creating gaps at the junction with the smile line because it'll be challenging to remove material from there. Once you've distributed the material, pull it from the cuticle side towards the center. Attach it to the nail at a 45-degree angle, then smoothly bring it towards the cuticle and cure it with a UV lamp. Flip the finger and smooth out the material, directing it where it's needed. Repeat the process for the remaining fingers. Don't forget to moisten the brush in nail prep to prevent the polygel from dragging, as it will become messy otherwise. Also make sure there are no bubbles at the junction with the smile line because that's what happened to me. Remove any excess material, then cure it in the lamp for a minute. Smooth out the material, remove any excess and attach it to the finger. Cure it with the lamp, then clean the underside of the nail to avoid excessive filing later. At this point, it's much more convenient to use a brush than to file with a drill. Cure it in the lamp, then after curing, let it cool for 30 seconds before removing the forms. Remove any dispersion layer if present and align the sidewalls and length of the nail. Here, I realize I should have squeezed the form a little to make them more arched, but as always, I'm the last one to realize these things. And if you don't want to struggle later like me, use a more pigmented polygel. Because when I bought it, I was so happy to find this color, but on the nail, I don't really like it. It looks too pale and I decided to tint it with liquid acrylic in a delicate pink hue. I applied it with a brush from the bottle and used a thin brush for precision. By the way, this is a good technique if you've made an impression but it's not as close to the cuticle as you'd like. Just touch it up with liquid polygel to match the tone and everything will be fine. Now everything can be coated with top coat. As always, I'm using my favorite one from Edlin without stickiness and filters. I recall the moment when I said I would never again do my right hand myself. Well, thanks to top forms and molds, it's now possible, and very quickly too. Any French tip will now be even, and there's no need to spend the last nerve cell trying to draw a smooth smile line with your left hand. This not only makes the master's work easier, but also leaves the client amazed by this new technique. Finally, we finish off all this beauty with spa procedures and nourish our cuticles with oil to prevent them from drying out. Here's what we've achieved. Please comment on how you work with these forms because so far I'm not liking them. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. If there are mistakes, be sure to let me know. But the idea of stained glass French tips is just amazing because you can create something that you'll be admiring inside your nails for a month. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. And I'll say goodbye for now. Bye bye.